Today I'm talking about the Annabelle Trilogy. So that includes Annabelle, Annabelle Creation, and Annabelle Comes Home. First up is Annabelle. This is a 2014 film set roughly a year to 6 months prior to the events of The Conjuring. And the basic premise is this pregnant woman finally gets gifted this porcelain doll that she's always wanted. But wouldn't you know it, the next door neighbor's long estranged daughter, who's joined a cult, has decided to come back and murder some people. Thanks to the combined efforts of the police and her husband, the estranged daughter killed on the scene. Except wouldn't you know it, a blood drop from this crazy cult lady falls onto the doll and now she is possessed. And it's pretty solid. I enjoyed this movie much more than I thought I would. I love the setting a lot. I love the two main characters a lot. This married couple were really interesting. It more so focuses on her than him, and that was the right choice because it kind of feels like it's a story of just like a woman dealing with both PTSD from this traumatic event, but also maybe she has like postpartum depression. Probably both. So like maybe all the spooky stuff is just in her head from all the trauma. It could even be that the initial trauma that we see is also just a manifestation in her mind from the stress of creating a fetus and whatnot. I mean, it's not. But what I like about this universe is they do kind of give you like plausible outs for stuff. Like, yeah, it's definitively supernatural stuff is happening, but like they have these roads of like, well, actually maybe it was this for a more tangible explanation. And I like that. It was definitely scary. I definitely got spooked out a bunch, which is the big thing you're hoping for with any kind of horror movie. Even if it doesn't have the best story or the most interesting characters, if it freaks you out, it freaks you out. And this one did a good job of freaking me out. It doesn't hit the heights of like the original Conjuring, but I do think it is a worthwhile entry into the series, and I'm glad I finally checked it out. So yeah, no, I liked it a good solid amount, and I would recommend this one. If you like the Conjuring universe, it's definitely worth checking out. Even if you haven't seen any of the Conjuring movies, it stands alone enough that you can just watch this and be completely fine. The little tease at the end means nothing to you, but that's fine. So yes, solid movie, worth a watch. Next up is Annabelle Creation. This is a 2017 movie directed by the guy who did the Shazam movies. So I kind of went into this one with higher expectations because I like those movies a good amount. And I was also just like curious, how are they going to do the creation of this doll when in the last one they literally had the creation of the doll? And they do explain it at the very, very end. And it's so convoluted. I maybe would have been more understanding of the ridiculousness of how this crazy doll came to be if I would have liked this movie more. I know critically this one's actually the best of the three, but for me this is my least favorite of the three. I really didn't care about all of these Catholic orphaned girls who have to go to this old man's house, and like a decade prior his daughter was tragically killed and now spooky stuff is happening. None of the kids I really cared about. I mean, like the main one was fine, but like I never really believed that anyone was in danger, any of the children. I mean, a bad thing does happen to one of them, but like by that point I kind of just stopped caring. And having bad stuff happen to these adults that feel very disconnected from the story didn't really do anything for me. I definitely checked out while watching this one. I didn't shut it off, but like it was a struggle bus to continue to pay attention. Like even when like it gets crazy in the end, I'm just like, whatever. And it's just like, this movie just makes things so unnecessarily complicated. Plus, what also frustrates me is that it sort of ends at the beginning of the last movie, which that as an idea works for sure, because that's essentially what the other one did. But it also frustrates me because it skips over the part of the movie that I thought was really interesting and worth exploring, which was the daughter who was in the cult for years. I want to see what that cult was like. What's up with that cult? What were they doing? What were they worshiping? What was their whole vibe? What were their goals? I want to know everything about that cult. But do we get to know stuff about that cult? Not really. So that's disappointing. But yeah, anyway, I didn't really care for this movie. It's not my didn't like because there were bits I liked about it. It doesn't look good. Would I recommend it? I know other people like it a lot. I really didn't care for it. It's kind of like, It's up to you, I guess. I think it's easy to skip. I think the other two go together much better. I don't think this is necessary viewing by any means. I guess if you were to watch this first and then go to Annabelle, honestly, I may have enjoyed it more. It's definitely an idea, but I don't know. And lastly is Annabelle Comes Home. This is a 2019 film that takes place around the time of the first Conjuring movie and essentially takes place entirely in the Warrens' house, which I liked a lot. And it has to deal with two high school girls and then the Warrens' daughter dealing with a bunch of spooky shit attacking them. And I honestly really like this movie. After Annabelle Creation, I went into this with really low expectations and was so blown away. Like, this does what I like best within this universe. They just like throw everything at the wall and I love it. And like the setup makes sense too, because it's like basically a friend of the babysitter goes into the room that they're not supposed to go in and touches everything, so then everything gets out and it's all like scary hijinks. I like that a lot. I like the characters a lot too. I really cared for all of the characters. You got the main babysitter who's great, you got her best friend who's awesome, you got the daughter who's just terrific and just like she's the right amount of spooky and weird and off-putting, but you still care for her and want to give her a hug. There's also like this cute boy that's like trying to get involved and he just he's a struggle bus. The Warrens themselves are in it like a little bit, but when they are, they really do shine, and like their chemistry makes it make sense that this whole series has done well because they're just so charming and delightful and you really want to just see them, you know, solve mysteries together. And I was scared. It definitely got me several times with the chills and stuff. So yeah, no, I crazy enjoyed this movie and would wholeheartedly recommend it for sure. You could definitely watch this on its own. I don't think you need to have seen any of the other films in the universe. It might be helpful to watch just like the first Conjuring movie to get kind of like a vibe. I don't think you need to have seen either of the other Annabelle movies, though I would still recommend the first one because the first one was solid. But if you're gonna watch just one Annabelle movie, this is the one to watch. It's bonkers, it's crazy, it's interesting, it's got great characters, a good story, it's just top to bottom terrific. So yeah, no, thoroughly enjoyed this movie, would wholeheartedly recommend it. Alrighty, now for today's rankings, first up we got Annabelle, sitting number 100 in the quite like section. And then after that is Annabelle Creation, sitting number 173 in the meh category. And then last but best is Annabelle Comes Home, sitting at number 61 in the really like section. And this is out of a total of 210 old movies so far this year.